This game is cursed. We're back. The game crashed, and as I was reloading it, the power went off of my house for a second, enough to knock everything out. Yeah, I'm gonna run ads. I need to finish setting up things here anyway. I just wanted to start the stream so that the ads would run. And now I have to reload all my pages. Open Discord back up. You know what? I'm going to no, I don't care. Stop turning things on here. And my computer's still booting up. Darken your clothes. Strike a violent pose. Let's see, so 6.5 minutes. I don't want to spend another 6 minutes on break before I can run another ad break. We're not gonna have ads for an hour, so hopefully that'll be good for us, and that the stream won't crash again. But let's go back here, and hopefully I don't destroy my power. So let's try this again. Tateno said, good. I don't want to pull this trigger if I don't have to. We didn't crash the game this time. Yay! It's not that you don't want to pull that trigger. It's that you can't pull that trigger. No save data was lost? No, thankfully not. This game saves after every scene. Like you'll see in the lower left corner, it just has like a little thingy, so it saves really often on its own. You still traumatized that time you let your wife, you let your wife die. How do you know? We saw this one already. We saw this part. Let's test my theory out. You can't do it, can you? This might be new. Katone's final moments flashed through his head. If he hadn't fired back then, maybe Tateno would still be alive. Your friend's entire life was changed because of you. Why hadn't he tried to talk the culprit down? He knew the reason why, because he loved Tateno. He'd still love her even after she'd become Daisuke's wife. His desire to be the one who saved her had warped his sense of judgment when things had come down to the wire. Do I have any candy or anything? No? Oh well. Tateno, do you not enjoy being with me? There was a forlorn look on Katone's face. It wasn't that he didn't enjoy being with her. Her very presence soothed him. But the more serious the relationship had grown, the more it tore at Tateno's heart. The truth was that he didn't really know what happiness was, and so he was incapable of making someone else happy. If it were possible, he'd want Katone to be smiling always, and that meant her being with someone other than him. I'm back at work. Gonna try actually work? What? Work? On a weekday? That's okay though. I think it would be best if we stopped seeing each other. Tateno blurted out the words bluntly and Katone's face fell. He hadn't broken up with her because of any lack of feeling for her. Rather, the impulse had actually sprung out of his pursuit of human warmth and his growing fear of losing it. He'd been so uneasy. More than anything, he'd been afraid that he wanted too much love and affection from Tateno. Bit by bit, Tateno lowered his gun, his hand even more unsteady. His heart was on the cusp of breaking. Still, Kanan continued with her diabolic whispering. You can go ahead and kill me, but if it turns out I'm not Alphard, what then? Now she stared at Tateno with an almost pitiable look. You'll have once more done something that you can never undo. Something I can never undo. Tateno repeated the words dully, feeling himself forced into a trance. That's right. Could you ever accept that? No, I couldn't make the same mistake. His whole body felt like it might fall apart. He wanted to drop to the ground and curl up in a ball like a child. And that's why you can't shoot anyone. I can't shoot anyone. Tateno muttered the words. Kano's face appeared in the back of his mind. I can! And tears fell from Kano's eyes as he looked down the barrel of his gun at Tateno. He'd become a detective who didn't lose sight of what was supposed to protect no matter the situation. Tateno had nearly forgotten, nearly abandoned his inward promise to be a detective worthy of that final salute Kano had given him. He brought his gun back up to bear. Don't be absurd, Kanan mocked. You can't shoot anyone. Actually, I can. The words creaked dryly from Tateno's throat. When there's something I'm supposed to protect, I can shoot. The memory of Kano weeping but taking aim had given him the resolve he needed to face down an opponent who ought to have terrified him. I learned that from someone who was terrible at his job. Kanan's eyes went cold. Immediately she lifted her gun again. Once more, their eyes locked, sparks of hostility crackling between them. But almost immediately, Tateno could sense the difference in skill between his opponent and himself. The young woman radiated a deadly aura. The force of her stare was like a knife pressed to his throat. She had borne witness to carnage and bloodshed the likes of which he couldn't even imagine. He couldn't win this. She would kill him, guaranteed. Tateno braced himself for death, never taking his eyes off Kanan's. If nothing else, he needed to buy time for Kano to get that password. But could he do that, given the opponent he faced? Yes. Somehow, he would do it. As a detective, as a man, even if he had to give his own life to succeed. Even if it couldn't come close to making up for the sins he had committed. Oh God, don't you do this. Don't do this. End of his story, right before he may or may not die? Alright, back to Jack. It's the only person we have left. They really like tearing our heart out. Yeah. If I do get revenge, what would Frank think? Yeah, we went through this already, so I'm just gonna... Okay, so finally, the Akoshi Pharmaceutical Laboratory came into view. There were two people standing outside the front gate. It was Tateno and the girl who was pretending to be Kanan. Each had a gun drawn on the other. Somehow, Stanley had made it in time. He pulled his car up alongside them and reached down to the gun sleeve concealed behind his seat. He pulled out a .44 caliber Desert Eagle. Oh my god, one of the most powerful semi-automatic handguns in the world. Semi-automatic handgun designed by Minnesota-based Magnum Research Incorporated and manufactured by Israeli Weapon Industries. There are various models chambered for different rounds. The largest, the 50 Action Express 50AE, is exceptionally powerful by semi-automatic handgun. Yeah, this is a hand cannon. The 44 Magnum, or the 44 Desert Eagle, it's not a gun, it's a hand cannon. His orders were to apprehend Alphard. The smaller Glock in his shoulder holster might be better suited to that end. Even so, he opted for the Desert Eagle. Getting out of the car, he started pacing toward the young woman, Stanley. Tateno glanced over him, his face pale. Stanley gave a silent nod in reply. He could see the hint of a smile on the girl's face. Probably a smile of overconfidence. Well, her brazenness would get her no further. I'm glad we also learned a few things here. Yeah, we learned a lot, actually. I got in touch with the others, Stanley said. Told him to turn off Osawa's cell phone. I could see her eyes react. I imagine that by now you've also managed to deal with the bomb you planted on your decoy. They've also managed to deal with the bomb you planted on your decoy. The young woman remained silent. And of course, they managed to bypass the lock inside the lab. You know what this means? Your little plan has failed, completely. Stanley could see the girl's stare sharpen. He chased Alphard all around the world only to arrive here, at last, in this little island nation. It had been a long, long journey, and he'd spent a long time suffering. Now, both the journey and the suffering would be over. Please don't die. We meet at last, Alphard. It's the end of Stanley's story, too? How dare you start and stop Stanley's story? And what? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. We have an epilogue. Ah! I have chills. I have chills. Look, everybody's stories are connecting. I have actual chills on my body seeing that. Kanan's friend, let's do it. She felt a hand firmly clutching her own as she hazily returned to consciousness. This hand, whose is it? This hand of mine is shining red! I'm sorry, it's burning red! It tells me to defeat you! Sorry. Can you believe then the game in which everything is connected? Everything is connected? This hand, whose is it? My father's? She's awake. Maria's eyelids slowly drifted open. Maria, you're all right now. Her father was indeed beside her, holding her hand. A surprising warmth radiated from his slender, bony palm. Dad? She was lying on a sofa. She craned her neck to look around, still trying to process what was going on. There were several monitors set up around the room. Where are we? At my laboratory. You were infected with the virus, but I've given you the antiviral. You don't have anything to worry about. He squeezed Maria's hand even more tightly. That hurts. Right, sorry. Osawa eased up the pressure on his daughter's hand, but he didn't let go entirely. This feels so strange, Maria muttered, staring up at the ceiling. I wonder why. What does? Having you hold my hand. I used to hold your hand like this when we'd go on walks together, when you were little. I doubt you remember that, though. Maria considered. It was true, she didn't have any clear memory of her father holding her hand like this, and yet the touch of her father's palm felt distantly familiar. Gently, she squeezed back. It's been a while, hasn't it, she said. I mean, me looking you in the eye while I'm talking to you. That's only because I didn't look you in the eye. Osawa hung his head. I'm so sorry, he said. Please, forgive me. I never meant to hurt you like I did. Wait, hold on. Maria was taken aback. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean hurt me? Back on that rainy day. Osawa told Maria about the day she'd run away from home, and how he'd known where she had gone and he hadn't gone to find her. About how he'd given in to his anger and struck her once she came back home. When he finished, he hung his head once more. I'm so sorry. I've been such a terrible father. Maria cracked an impish smile. Oh yeah? I guess that did happen. Oh yeah, I guess that did happen. Osawa frowned. You know, she said, I totally forgotten about that. Until you mentioned it just now, I mean. No, I can't believe that, Osawa replied. The way I hurt you, He sounded so disappointed in himself. Dad, it's not like I can let myself dwell on each and every detail of my childhood. I mean, in the 19 or so years I've been alive, I've been hurt in lots of different ways. A child experienced so much more than what her parents knew. That was what growing up was all about. It was a happy thing, but also a little bit sad. Osawa was visibly grappling with his feelings. I see, he said. I guess you have gone through much pain. Well, yeah, but there have been more things that were fun and happy. I see. It's the sum of all those things that have made me who I am today, so please don't worry so much about the past. I see. Dad, you keep saying I see. Stop it. Sorry. It's just... This is also difficult to say. Osawa was trying and failing to hold back his tears. Maria wasn't quite sure what those tears were for, but she felt a prickle of embarrassment. Shyly, she looked away, and her eyes alighted on one of the monitors. The screen showed a view from outside the lab. Who are those people? She asked, pointing. Osawa looked, and his eyes widened in shock. 3 people with guns were facing off with one another. Maria recognized one of them, Tateno, the man with the cane. Why are those 2 pointing guns at your friend? If I weren't working, I'd actually be crying. Osawa's voice was shaking. My friend? What do you mean? The one you met when we went to the Middle East. I'm sorry, why are those 2 pointing guns at your friend? My friend? What do you mean? The one you met when we went to the Middle East. You know, Kanan. Osawa switched monitor to show a different camera angle. A close-up of the young woman's face appeared on screen. Maria was at a loss for words. That certainly wasn't Kanan. It was the girl who'd come to tell Maria that Hitomi was going to be kidnapped. Kanan's friend. Ah. That explains how that whole story had started. Okay, so I thought Kanan had told her that. I think we were all under the impression, because Kanan had told us that she had said that, but Maria was told by Kanan's quote-unquote friend. So Kanan wasn't ever in the picture here, which also is why throughout all the flashbacks of her in the Middle East, it never showed Kanan's face. Ah. It happened 3 days earlier. While Maria was on her way home from campus, a girl approached her telling her she was a friend of Kanan. Kanan asked me to pass along a message, she said. Then she showed Maria a video recording. The video quality was quite poor and the voice indistinct. There's a terrorist who's after the antiviral agent your father is developing. Maria listened in shock as the message continued. The terrorist plan was already in motion, and Hitomi had been infected with a killer virus. Your father used the antiviral to save Hitomi, but the terrorist planned on that. I'll spare you the details, but as a way to extract the antiviral from Hitomi's blood. Stealing the drug from the laboratory directly is too problematic. The terrorist intends to get it directly from your sister. Hitomi is certain to be kidnapped sometime in the next few days, and so I have something to ask you. I'd like you to get kidnapped in her place. Since you're twins, it would be possible for you to trade places without the kidnappers realizing it. I gave the girl who's passing along this message a necklace outfitted with a small GPS beacon. Make sure you wear the necklace. Switch it on and allow me to keep tabs on your location. I promise I'll come and rescue you. Please, help me. This is the only way we can keep the antiviral and Hitomi safe. The video ended and the girl handed Maria a necklace with an ornate pendant and showed her the hidden switch on the back. Kanan's coming to Japan? Maria asked. She's already here. She's ready to risk her life for this mission. Risk her life? Maria started uneasily. So this terrorist who's after the antiviral drug, is it Alphard? The girl looked shocked. You know about Alphard? Kanan told me that taking down Alphard is her purpose in life. But Alphard has ties to CIA, so it's hard for Kanan to get any good leads. That's true. Which reminds me, you should have this. The girl held out a photograph. This man is dangerous. Stay away from him. He's an ally of Alphard. Maria did her best to burn the man's image into her mind. All right, the girl said. I passed along everything Kanan wanted me to tell you. What you do next is up to you. Oh, boy. So wait, What the heck has been going on while I've been asleep? Osawa recoiled from the ferocity on his daughter's face. The Kanan girl thought of a way to save you. He went on to explain the plan to get the antiviral out of the lockdown laboratory. Once again, Maria stared at the monitor. As she eyed Kanan's friend, another memory from before she'd black out drifted to the surface. Oh, she infected you right there. Suddenly it dawned on Maria what this girl was planning. She pretended to be Kanan in order to get into the lab, she said, scowling at the image on the monitor. Osawa looked at the screen and then at his daughter's face. Well then, who in the world is she? Maria already had the answer. There was no doubt about it. That girl was Alphard. The instant she realized this, she knew they were in danger. If Alphard managed to infiltrate the lab, there was no way she'd be satisfied with simply getting her hands on the antiviral. She sowed ruin everywhere she went. Is something wrong? Osawa asked uneasily. Maria, what is it? Maria's mind was racing. She spoke her thoughts out loud. She's gonna kill you so the drug can't be recreated. No, that's not thorough enough. She's going to destroy this whole facility. But how? Vague possibilities tumbled through her mind. She couldn't be sure what the terrorist might be planning. She gritted her teeth in frustration. Oh god, the GPS thingy is a bomb. Don't worry, Osawa said. I don't know who the girl is, but right now she's outside the lab. There's no way she can kill me or plant a bomb in here or anything. Yeah, I know. Maria gave Tom a tiny nod, but something gnawed at the back of her mind. Ah, God. Make sure you wear the necklace. Hurriedly, Maria took hold of the pendant that hung around her neck. As soon as she did, she felt a chill run up her spine. She went back over the details of Alfred's plan as her father had explained it, and then finally she understood. I've got it. Osawa straightened up. You've got what? I need to get out of here, where those three are. Don't be absurd. I have to go. Osawa peered closely at his daughter's face. Words weren't going to stop her, and as he realized that, his own face stiffened with determination. All right, but I'm going with you. Alphard is very smart, unfortunately. I can't let you rush into danger all by yourself. Thank you, Dad. Maria tried to get up from the sofa, but she was struck by a wave of vertigo and her knees buckled. Are you alright? Osawa caught her by the arm. This is probably a side effect of the antiviral. You shouldn't push yourself too much. Maria looked up at her father's anxious face and shook her head. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Her body was weak with lethargy. Her mind trapped in a disorienting haze. Every step was a monumental effort, but she clenched her jaw and forced herself onward, making her way down the laboratory hallway. A whirlwind of anger and sadness spurred her onward. Alphard was masquerading as Kanan. The cruel truth was all too clear. The terrorist would never have been able to get away with the deception if Kanan were still alive. Which means that Kanan must be... Oh no! Maria fought to hold back her tears. It was too early to cry just yet. That could wait until after she put a stop to Alfred's plan. Oh! Using her rage to suppress her sorrow, she shoved open the door in front of her. That isn't Kanan! Maria's voice exploded into the silence of the standoff. I doubt we're getting better testimony than that, Stanley said, his gun still at the ready. There's no talking your way out of things this time. The expression on Alfred's face didn't change. She stood still, a mannequin without a soul. What did you do to Kanan? Maria demanded, marching unsteadily toward the terrorist. Maria, stay back! Osawa exclaimed. She ignored him. Hey, don't get any closer, Tateno barked. He looked exhausted, on the verge of collapse. Answer me, Maria cried, still advancing. What happened to Kanan? But still Alphard said nothing. Stanley, too, began edging toward her. Doesn't matter what you ask, he said. She won't tell you anything. Bit by bit, he inched closer. He was going to try to take her down. Let me turn your question around, Alphard said abruptly. What do you think? Maria paused, confused. What do I think about what? What do you think happened to Kanan? The corners of her lips twisted up, shaping a mirthless smile. You killed her, didn't you? Maria's words came out as a whisper. What was that? I couldn't quite hear you. You killed Kanan, didn't you? This time Maria cried out with biting fury. Alphard snickered. She's provoking me, Maria thought, forcing herself to swallow her rage. She couldn't let herself get caught up in Alphard's game or her anger would spill out of control. Why are you laughing? By force of will, Maria made her voice firm and steady. Because I'm guessing you weren't expecting me to show up here. Alphard raised an eyebrow. Why are you laughing? Yeah, because I'm guessing you weren't expecting me to show up here. Alphard raised an eyebrow ever so slightly. This thing here, it's a bomb, isn't it? Maria held out the necklace. What? Stanley furrowed his brow. Of course. Even if we managed to catch you here, you'd still be able to destroy the lab. Still, the smile remained on Alphard's face. She seemed to enjoy watching the others figure out her intentions. But you can't trigger the bomb with me standing this close to you, can you? Maria locked eyes with Alphard. Unless you're prepared to sacrifice yourself? She stood like an image of bravery, while on the inside her apprehension threatened to tear her apart. She could feel her heart thudding so furiously she thought it might explode. Cold sweat trickled down her spine. Only her rage at Kanan's murder kept her from backing down. Go ahead and blow yourself up if that's what you want, she said, but you'll die with nothing. Your death will mean nothing. But not mine. My death will avenge Kanan's. Silence fell outside the laboratory gates. Stanley and Tateno stood frozen, their guns still trained on Alphard. Both men were ready to pull the trigger at the slightest provocation. Just how long had they been there, staring one another down? The passage of time seemed to slow, seconds drawn into hours. Osawa swallowed audibly. Finally, Alphard tossed her gun onto the pavement and held up both hands in surrender. Stanley wasted no time springing forward to secure her. He gave her a thorough pat-down from behind. He removed a small device that looked like a detonator from one of her pockets. On your knees! Alphard did as she was told. Good. Now hands behind your head. Try anything funny and I will shoot. That word, Alphard placed her hands on the back of her head, fingers laced together. There's no way she's giving up this easily. What are you playing at? Stanley growled disdainfully. Finally realized you can only push your luck so far? She responded with a faint snicker. It's not my policy to resist when things are hopeless. Her tone was detached, her intentions unreadable. Good. That'll make this easy. Stanley kept the barrel of his gun pointed to Alfred's head. This is for my brother. The words hung in his throat unspoken, a surge of emotion coursed through him. Just a tiny bit more pressure from his index finger and he could put a bullet right through Alfred's head. His long journey would finally reach its conclusion. But although he had wished for this moment more than anything, his finger did not move. If he pulled the trigger now, would that truly be the end? His mind reeled at the implications. Tateno watched Stanley closely, eventually letting out a tiny sigh of relief. They were in this together, after all. Now they just needed to be careful not to let down their guard. He kept one eye on Alphard as he went to pick up the gun she had discarded. But he was too late. The gun was gone. Uh-oh! This is for Kanan! Maria had lunged forward, snatching up the gun. Maria, no! Osawa cried. What are you thinking? She ignored her father, taking him at Alphard's forehead. Kanan's dead, and you're gonna pay. The smoldering rage she'd fought to hold back blazed up with renewed fury. Maria, Stanley said calmly, put down the gun. He had nothing but words to stop her. There was no telling what Alphard might do if he took his gun off her. What will this accomplish? He asked, keeping his tone as level as possible. Maria's face remained awash with anger. Maria, his father pleaded, please don't do this. Tateno took a step forward. Go on, hand me the gun, he said. Stay back! Maria's arm trembled as she aimed the gun. Everyone stood frozen, not even daring to breathe. The slightest wrong move might bring disaster. Silence roared. I don't care, Alphard sneered. If you want to shoot, then shoot. You do want to avenge Kanan, don't you? Yes. Yes, I do. Maria tightened her grip on the gun. Memories of her friend drifted through her mind. To Maria, born into peace, meeting Kanan had been like touching a world beyond her own, a far more complicated world. Kanan had blood on her hands from the time she was a little girl. a walking contradiction of cruelty and childishness. And yet, she had lived her life according to her own unshakable beliefs. Meeting her had made Maria think hard about her own identity. What did it mean to be Japanese? No, that wasn't the question. What did it mean to be Maria Osawa? That was the crux of it all. They had been able to find common ground despite differing ideals because both possessed an unshakable sense of self. The tense equilibrium came crashing down as Maria let out a shout. "This is for Kanan!" She pulled the trigger, but a shot went wild, shattering the window of a nearby car. A sudden gunshot caught Stanley off guard. Alphard didn't miss her opening. She rolled swiftly across the pavement, drawing the small pistol she'd hidden in an ankle holster. Maria hastily tried to aim for a second shot. No! No, 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 no! No, 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 no! Dad? Osawa collapsed at Maria's feet. Dad! Her father went limp. Stanley dived at Alphard. He grabbed hold of her right wrist, the one clutching the gun, and slammed her head down hard against the pavement. She made no attempt to resist. In a moment, he had subdued her. No! Maria, you're not hurt, are you? Osawa croaked feebly as his daughter gathered him up in her arms. I'm fine, but Dad, you're... Blood was gushing through Osawa's shirt. Maria pressed her hand against the wound, but the bleeding wouldn't stop. Look, just hurry! Get here as fast as you can! Tateno was on his cell phone calling for an ambulance. I know there's a traffic jam, just figure something out, please! His voice was ragged with this desperation. Dad, hang in there. Large tears streamed from Maria's eyes. So this is what it's like. Osawa lay with his head in his daughter's lap, struggling to rasp out his words. My body just reacted before I had any time to think. I finally understand what a virus must feel like. His eyes were hollow. I never told you and Hitomi, did I? About what started my fascination with virus research. Dad, try not to talk right now. Maria squeezed her father's hand. Almost imperceptibly, he squeezed back. It probably isn't a very interesting story, he said, but I'd like for you both to hear it anyway. I know, and we will. After this, I promise we will. Maria's words brought a contented smile to Osawa's face. I'm glad. So glad. It's alright, just don't talk right now. This time, at least, I was there for you. Osawa slowly shut his eyes. Dad? Maria said, but her father didn't answer. Dad, don't die. You can't die. The sound of ambulance sirens wailed in the distance. Maria clutched her father's hand, trying to make her grip firm and reassuring, just as his had been for her back inside the laboratory. Please, don't die. She repeated the words inwardly over and over and over. No! A black car of foreign make arrived at the laboratory and pulled up to the curb. Stanley's superior, Gordon, emerged from the back. A few of his men followed and promptly placed Alphard in handcuffs. Well done, Gordon said. Stanley gave him a slight nod. I'll be taking Alphard back to headquarters. You can finish up here. Understood, sir. Gordon shoved Alphard into the back seat and slid alongside her, and the car drove off. Who was that just now? Tateno asked Stanley. My boss. Sorry, but we'll be taking Alphard into custody. You will, huh? Tateno frowned, but decided not to press the point. The ambulance arrived at last, and Osawa was loaded inside. Maria remained at his side, still weeping, still softly calling out to him. He could sense her there, through her voice, though her voice sounded awfully far away. Is this the end, then? He was vaguely aware that he was dying, but he was not afraid. At the far end of a hazy tunnel, he could still see Maria. Yeah, I also have a bad feeling about that. She had grown. She had grown so very much. If he were an organism that multiplied by dividing itself, he would die knowing that he had left his best selves behind. He had only one wish now. that Maria and Hitomi would go on to lead happy lives. His vision was growing steadily more dim. Tiny motes of light flickered and wavered faintly before his eyes. It looked a lot like the very first time he had ever peered through a microscope, and that was enough for him. Unexpectedly, Maria's cell phone rang in Stanley's pocket. He'd meant to give it back to her, but the ambulance had already departed. The phone continued to ring for some time, but eventually fell into a death-like silence. "12:02. Oh no, 2 seconds left." Achi held his breath. He could no longer feel the seconds ticking by. The numbers on the display were changing more and more slowly, but still he watched in fear. 2. It was impossible not to fixate on the countdown. 2, 2, 2. Kano and Achi continued to stare at the timer. 2. It had stopped. The timer had actually stopped. "We did it!" Achi dropped to his knees with a cry of triumph. The rest of Shibuya Scramble burst into cheers. "You are one reckless guy, you know that?" Kano held his hand out. Achi grinned up at him. "That makes 2 of us." 2 clasped hands firmly, their handshake conveying more than any words could have. "Achi!" Achi! Susumu came rushing over. "You did it, man! I knew you could do it!" The 2 bumped fists. It weren't just me," Achi said. "Could never have done it without you guys' help." Susumu smiled bashfully. "Hey, Susumu, take care of SOS for me." "You got it." Susumu looked him squarely in the eye. Achi gave a little nod and the 2 solemnly bumped fists again. Suddenly there was a blinding flash. Achi spun around to see Chiaki standing there, beaming happily. "You know what these two are? These two are, Niall and Dorothy." Beaming happily, her digital camera ready for another shot. Hey everyone, gather up!" Minorikawa called out to Achi and his pals. "You guys are the heroes of Shibuya! Photo time, everyone!" Chiaki said. "Get ready!" The young men struck a pose together. "Wait, her too!" Minorikawa ushered Hitomi over to stand with Achi. Hitomi, Achi stared at her shyly. It was all thanks to Hitomi he'd been able to do what he had done. Keeping Shibuya safe, keeping his promise to Suzune. Hitomi had been his inspiration for it all. There's so many things he wanted to say, but he couldn't get the words out. "Achi, I... Tomi's cheeks were damp with tears. Hey now, little lady. Minorikawa called out. "No crying now. Come on, show us a smile." He struck a goofy pose beside Chiaki. At last, the smile returned to Hitomi's face. "It really is the best." "Huh?" Hitomi looked up at Achi in confusion. "Your smile," he said. "It's the best. I don't care what anyone else says." He spoke so earnestly that Hitomi couldn't help but smile even more. "Okay, here we go, people. Get your best faces on." At Minorikawa's signal, everyone let out a joyous victory cry. I love it. Look at all of them. "Come on, guys," Susumu shouted. "Let's lift Achi up where everyone can see him." The members of SOS let out another roar. "Huh? No, you don't gotta do that, guys. Hey, cut it out!" But Achi had already been swallowed by an enthusiastic throng. Oh god, that must really hurt. Heave ho! Heave ho! Heave ho! There in the middle of the scramble, Achi was being hailed as a hero. Kano looked on with a satisfied smile. What they had achieved together was nothing less than a miracle. It had taken a lot of luck and more than a few coincidences for them to stop the bomb. Coincidences? Kano muttered to himself. No, that wasn't right. This was something different altogether. Fate, that's what it was. And not just one person's fate. The destinies of several people had collided, gathering momentum until coincidence became inevitability, and Shibuya was saved. The raucous crowd tossed Achi high into the air again and again. As a plainclothes detective, Kano would probably never be showered with adulation quite like that. Well, that was alright. Detective's duty was to ensure the safety of the people. He didn't put his life on the line so he could be the hero. Just seeing all those smiles, that was good enough for him. Kinda only need the approval of one person, and that was Rumi. Rumi, I hope she managed to get out of Shibuya okay. Suddenly worried, Kana pulled out his cell phone. There was a whole bunch of things he wanted to tell her. He couldn't share the whole story, police rules wouldn't allow it, but he wanted to let her know as much as he could. That the kidnapping case had been resolved safely, for instance. They'd learned about the tortured past of the detective he'd so admired. That his partner was going to pull through. They'd managed to finally talk to her father. That he'd put his life on the line to save Shibuya from danger. Rumi would listen quietly to the very end, and then Kana thought he knew just what she'd say. Short and sweet, in that gentle voice of hers. Good job. Credits! Oh my god! Oh! Oh my god! What a freaking game! We did it! I can't believe we finished. I don't know what to say about this game. I really missed. I'm really upset actually that Yanagashita didn't show up in the last group somehow. Just as a, I guess it was just being too serious. Maybe he'll show up at the end of the credits or something. Man, what an absolute. What can I say about this game? It started off as just like an interesting like bunch of stories that were not connected in the slightest. Like characters just doing their own thing, and then as the hours ticked by in the game and like people started running into each other, silly things started, like a lot of silly stuff happened, like over here. It's just very funny. Just a lot of these scenes are just so funny, but like as it started uncovering more and more and more layers of the mystery and how everything is connected and the twists that you get, and then the twists of the twists, and then the twisted twists of the twists, and then we found out that everything in this game, that where everything is connected is connected. Absolutely wild. I don't think there was like a bad point in this game. Like there were some parts where I couldn't figure out where I had to, what I had to do to progress it, but that was usually because there was a like a random choice that you make, when it gives you an option where it looks like it's the exact same thing, but it produces a slightly different result. I have a feeling there's a Shibuya Scramble 2 being plotted, maybe. I mean, this game came out a while ago, so I don't know. But I'm okay with this game being its own experience. Also, the fact that it was illegal for them to, they didn't have permits to film anything, I feel like it would be hard for them to do another one. But man, absolutely wild game. Absolutely wild. It all came together beautifully, and I'm not surprised that it was as amazing as it was. Because like these are the type of like visual novels you get from the Spike Chunsoft area of people, you know? It's all the same group of weirdos writing really complicated plots that come together beautifully. But I so much enjoyed the fact that this game was live action. Like, I feel like that added an incredible amount that doing it as a 2D, as like a drawn visual novel would not have done at all. Like this, 100% would not have felt the same if it wasn't the live action photos that it did over here. It wouldn't have been at the same comedy, wouldn't have had the same drama. This game did what it wanted to do perfectly. And now we get to see the CIA. Yeah, Gordon and Alphard sat in the backseat as the car sped along the highway. Here. Yep, I knew it. Gordon tossed the handcuff key onto the seat. Yeah, because we learned before, Kanan said that the CIA and Alphard were working together. What happened down at the Scramble? Alphard asked, picking up the key and unlocking her cuffs. Leland Palmer was arrested by the Japanese police, and the bomb in the attaché case was defused, apparently. Still, Palmer shouldn't pose a problem once we get him into CIA custody. I see. Much obliged. You really got yourself back into a corner, though, didn't you? Gordon said. Yeah, I was only able to accomplish half of what I intended. Half? Alphard produced a vial from her pocket. It was filled with red liquid. Is that Hitomi's blood? Hitomi's blood? Gordon asked. Indeed. I managed to acquire the antiviral. But when? Gordon peered at her in bewilderment. When I blew up the minivan. Oh. In the dim light of the vehicle, Alphard's eyes shone darkly like those of a wounded animal. Oh, extracting the blood from Hitomi while she was unconscious had been a simple matter. Saving the girl's life had been more than just a means of ensuring her trust. Alphard had been looking for the right moment to carry out the extraction. Total secrecy was essential. If it became public knowledge that the drug existed and that some of it had been stolen, the value of UA virus would plummet. Our primary objective here was to destroy that research facility. Still, getting our hands on the antiviral is better than nothing. Well done as always, Alphard. Gordon's hard expression softened, but Alphard was in no mood to return his smile. If Maria Osawa had remained inside the facility, her plan would have succeeded. Everything else up until that point had gone off without a hitch. The one thing Alphard hadn't anticipated was Maria bringing the bomb outside. She had injected Maria with a knockout drug back at Endo Electronics. I knew it! I knew she did that! That should have kept her from moving around for a while, even after she regained consciousness. In any case, she wouldn't have expected the girl to just march into the midst of an armed standoff. She had been certain that Maria would never leave the lab. She had misjudged how strong the girl's feelings for Kanan were. Maria's body had been put into a state of torpor, where there were a bunch of people pointing... Oh, sorry. Skip that. Guns. It was true that she'd accomplished half her goals, but Alphard still couldn't shake her sense of failure. She softly bit her lip as she gazed out through the car window. The bright windows of a few buildings shone out in the midst of the otherwise darkened city. A group of tiny lights that refused to be washed out by the darkness. Heckin' CIA. The end. Don't give me a question mark. Don't put a question mark there. That's it. Oh. Man. Bonus content. Achievement unlocked. The end? Question mark? Don't you add the end? Previews added to bonus content. Pop quiz added to bonus content. Fine, we'll do this. We'll look at some of this stuff. Congrats on finishing. Yay. Thank you. Now we have bonus content. Let's see what this is. Oh, so this is like the Mad Lads, it's Spike Chunsoft hath done it again, or this is like the yeah, the chapter transitions. That's awesome. Hooray! Man, like actually sad that Yanagashita was the only recurring character in the game that didn't show up in the end. It's my favorite character in the game. Alright, we're doing the pop quiz. Let's see how badly I do. Oh no, it's a typing thing. The UA virus is approximately... What? No, okay, I'm not doing the pop quiz. I'm gonna be bad at this, and if it's asking me stuff like that, it's not happening. Cheery also. Man, okay, one sec. Let's take a look at it if we load the game. Okay, so it's just all these guys. And okay, and that's just its own thing there. Got it. Oh, man, okay. Let me just see. Let me see. Okay, so apparently there are several endings to this game. Which is wild. What's R1? One sec. Several is in what way? Like the one we had is a ending, not like the bad endings. Like there are several endings. Wow, okay, the pop quiz unlocks side stories. Apparently telling the cab to go to the labyrinth instead of Inferno is just a weird side ending also. So it looks like it, I don't think I'm gonna do it now, but it looks like the it looks like some of the endings are unlocked by... This really is a Spike Tunes up. More streams? No, I think I would do that on my own, honestly. If I do a bonus stream, maybe, but I'm gonna have to research it first. But like, some of the endings are unlocked by getting the bad endings in the game. Like, it just unlocks extra scenarios, which there are a lot of bad endings in the game that I missed. Once you clear the game, you unlock the pop quiz, and answering that will give you clues as to where to look for other bonus content. Fine, I'll try the pop quiz. So yeah, we're just gonna play around a little bit over here, but that's gonna be it, because I can't I can't sit and try to unlock stuff. Are you just gonna give us the same questions? Here's your first question. Do a virus? Ah, come on. Should I just look this up? Are you guys gonna be upset if I just look up the answers here? It's 3 digits. He's so upset. Okay. First one is... apparently it's 100. Yay. Answering pop questions correctly will let you read special episodes. Enjoy the tale of Osawa Ozu and Yutaro Sagawa. Those are these two. Ozu snarled at a young man who had sat before him in the dingy little office belonging to Tarkata Financing. Do you understand what it means to break a promise between men? The man glared back at him. What do you want me to say? He muttered. Ozu had seen that same look plenty of times before and he despised it. It was the look of a man who hadn't realized he'd already lost. Ozu hated people like that more than anything. 5 million, and the interest on it hasn't been paid. When was the payment for the interest due again? Yesterday. Well, if you knew that, then how come you haven't paid it? Ozu's voice rose to a bell that practically shook the windows. Couldn't tolerate Enron. This is like in Danganronpa when you get the bonus content and you have like Danganronpa If in its entire light novel. Okay, I'm not going to read this out loud. At least this one, I'm sorry. I just want to see how long it is generally. Can't often sell your organs. Stop jerking me around. I'm not jerking anyone around, I'm being serious. I'm just very tired. I'm sorry. I can't do another Shibuya Scramble stream. Young man shrugged. But there are true endings. What do I do? I think between, you know, after the stream at some point I'm going to look up how difficult it is to get the quote-unquote true endings. And if it's something that I think I can do during a stream, then we'll do a stream at some point, but it might not be soon. I don't know. Buy me the game and I'll play it. Yeah, man. It's like a lot. I'm all for bonus content, but like not while I'm streaming. Especially since I've been streaming since 12:30. And it is 7:30 almost. I only had an hour in between to do adult things. Man, the phone rang. Hello, Grandma, it's me. Did you get the money? Oh, Master, is that you? How's school going? Wow, there's just a lot here. There's 11 pop quiz things, so like, I don't think I can do that. They're all talking too much. Yeah, will you call me again? Yeah, I will. It's a promise now. I will. I swear I will. Okay. Don't make that into a movie for sure. Does that mean there's a... maybe... you know what? There's probably a bonus story with Yanagashita. That's where the game's been hiding him. It knows that I wanted to see him and is locking him behind the bonus content. How did you enjoy that tale of a loan shark's first meeting? We hope you found it entertaining. Here's some tempting info. In Osawa's story, in the 1200 time block, rubber gloves appear at some point. During that scene, the background zooms away. Try waiting for that movement to finish and see what happens. Okay. Special episode added to bonus content. This game is wild. Sasayama's pet name for his wife. Okay, so we're not gonna... So I'm gonna just... Okay, so that's interesting. I'm gonna do this on my own. Yeah, I'm not gonna get the true ending today, I'm sorry. I've failed you all. We're gonna look in 1200. Cause why not? We just got the clue. We may as well look there and see what it means. I want to say it's over here. The true ending was the friends we made along the way. Apparently the true ending is like a lot longer. Or maybe we... No. Maybe it's before this. Schlorped. Remember the toilet being clogged? Remember when our biggest problem was that the toilet in Osawa's house got clogged? Almost ridiculous. I'm not going to complain that there's a lot of stuff in this game at all. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just unlock I'll unlock the things and just do it on my own side. Hey Tanaka, you look really great when you're not dead. Okay, I don't think it was over here. Was it over here then? But yeah, I am gonna miss playing this game, but I am very glad that I finally finished it. And we can move on to finishing up Ekenfell, and then eventually playing Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep in like 20 years. Yeah, I'll just... Faster, faster, you fools. Just have to ask Makino in person. And there's you. Living room door open. There's Kajiwara. Something terrible has happened, yeah. No, it's not that. It is your toilet. The toilet's clogged. Okay, so that's just over here. Okay, never. So we saw this. So it wasn't over here. Where was it? Asking for help, sneaking out. It wasn't there. Was it over here then? Alright, you're an amazing detective. I see you in a new light now. You get the hell out of my room. I don't need a damn banana. I've decided I do not actually want to find this thing now. Unless it was like earlier in that thing. What was over here? Scandal's article. Eyes room. To calm the mind. Just over here? I don't know. This will be our last place I look. But yeah. So would I say this game is perfect? I don't know. Was it an amazing experience? Absolutely. Am I very happy that I shared it with you all? 100%. Okay, there's the glove. It's Detective Kajiwara, sir. Just wanted to inform you the toilet has been fixed. Okay. So it's panning over here. Do I just have to wait for it to finish panning here? Okay. It's slowly moving. Still moving. Still going. Oh lordy, coming. This better be worth my time, game. I have my hand, like a finger on my screen, making sure that it's still moving. He's almost a quarter of the way there. Still moving along. It's going. Still going slowly. It's inching. Oh, there's something coming. There we go. It slowed down because it wanted to make sure. What is this? What actually the heck is this? Right, escape, right? What? What? Are you telling me to do that over here? Why would you hide that? What a weird game. I'm gonna see how long this keeps scrolling, because the picture's still going. And you wouldn't know to do this unless you did the pop quiz, but like, what a weird thing to hide somewhere. Is it still going? I believe it is. Can't tell if it's stopped or not now. So I press right, escape, right? Oh no, it's a Kajiwara. It's a thing for Kajiwara. Okay. I mean, this is really cute. You get like origin stories, I don't know, for people. Does this eventually lead to something? I have no idea. It's after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. So that special episode is added that I can look at later. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely nuts. This game. Man, okay, so I'm gonna end off over here though. As much as I want, as much as I want to keep going here. What an absolutely wild video game. Absolutely. I was like really early in the game. Oh, there we go, yeah. Yeah, Achi's story is all the way up here. Minorikawa's story doesn't start till there. Like, 2 of the stories don't even start until 10 o'clock. I remember they were locked off. Okay. Thank you very much for stopping by and watching and everything. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go rest. Maybe we'll come back and do more in the future, but for now, that's not in the cards. So yeah, thank you all very much for joining me on this wild adventure. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a good night. Goodbye, everybody. Bye-bye.